Hey everyone, today I want to talk about two versions of the 5th edition Dungeon Master screen. When 5th edition was released in 2014, we had to wait several months before we got a Dungeon Master screen. The artwork on this screen featured a party of adventurers battling a red dragon along with a group of goblins. A couple years later, the reincarnated version of this screen was released. This one had new artwork featuring a red dragon flying through the sky. The content of both these screens is roughly the same, with only slight differences. But let's take a look at them. Looking at the original DM screen, the thing that I like right off the bat is the table of NPC information. You get a lot of tables to help you generate an NPC on the fly, where you can give it a name, you can give it some motivation, and you can give it some personality. This is really great if you're doing a lot of role-playing encounters and you need to be able to generate characters on the fly. One thing I don't like about this DM screen is how they use 1.5 panels to cover the different conditions that a creature could have. I feel that this information could be condensed into a much smaller footprint and leave room for other information to go onto the screen. I'm not a huge fan of the skills and abilities table. I feel that when you're playing D&D, you're sitting at a table with a bunch of players who have character sheets in front of them, and every one of those character sheets will have the linkage between the skills and the abilities. You don't really need to have a space for that on the DM screen because it's readily available anyway. One thing I do like is some of the tables that you have on the last couple panels where you can see information about cover, travel distances, lighting effects. These are really good pieces of information for the DM to have handy. I particularly like the table that talks about the damage levels based on encounter level. So you can, if you have a trap or something you're setting up on the fly, you can quickly look at that table to figure out how much damage you should be dealing. I think my biggest complaint about this screen is that it doesn't make efficient use of the space. If you look at it, you can see there's a lot of places where they put artwork or there's a lot of white space, which does make it pretty and easy to read, but there's a lot of other information that a DM could use that could have gone into those spaces. I think they could have done a little better here. The reincarnated screen makes a couple of improvements, but unfortunately does so at the expense of some really good features that they took away. The first thing you notice is that all the NPC tables are gone. It's been replaced instead with a refresher on geometry in case you forget what a cube looks like, as well as a box that tells you what the different actions you can take in combat and a few other combat related things. I think these tables are perfectly fine, and I like that they're on the screen. I feel that they should not have replaced the NPC information. They should have found another place for them on the screen. Sadly, the conditions block is exactly the same as it was on the original screen. It takes up 1.5 panels and has not been condensed in any way. Really missed opportunity with that one. The tables on the other panels are very good. I like that they added the food and drink and services information. That's the stuff that comes up when you least expect it, and it really saves having to rummage through the book to figure out what the cost is for different items. The skill table is still there, much to my dismay. I see how the artwork is trying to show the relative size of creatures, but it takes up a lot of space on the screen, and I don't know that it's something that comes up often enough where you really need to consume that real estate with that information. These screens are 50-50 for me. Both are good, but both really come up short. It depends on what you need. If you're doing something with a lot of role playing, then I think the original screen is best for you because it has that NPC panel and you can roll up a new NPC character really fast without any delay. If you're doing a lot more combat, then the second screen is going to be better because it replaced that NPC stuff with a bunch of combat tables. I really wish they would have taken the best parts of the two screens and merged them together into one. If you kept the NPC stuff, you'd have great information for role playing. If you kept the combat stuff, you'd have great information for combat. And then all the tables that they have about travel distances and things like that are great for exploration. You'd have all the pillars of the game covered in one DM screen. But sadly, you kind of have to make a choice, and I think that's a shame. Overall, they're fine, no more, no less. Let me know your thoughts. Do you have both of these screens? Have you used either of them? What do you think are some of the good things or bad things about each of them? I'd love to hear down in the comments what you have to say. Until next time, take care.